Hello everybody. Happy Monday. I am still in the great state of Texas. I have a creek behind me here and I have to be careful that I don't slide into it because who knows what's inside that creek. There are snakes apparently that are in Texas, so I must be careful. So hopefully everybody had a good weekend. I had a very busy weekend of lots of ministry, but it was fun because I did some things I had not done before in my own ministry. Was helping out another friend of mine's ministry. So hello everybody. Hello Lucretia from Texas. Hello Bernadette. How are you guys? Again, I'm sitting precariously next to this creek. I'm at Wolf Pen Creek. I think it's Wolf Pen Creek is the name of it. I don't think it's Wolf Creek Pen. Anyway, I always forget that. But I'm in College Station, Texas. Let me share with a couple of people here, a couple of groups, and we'll get started. So how was everybody doing this weekend? Hopefully you had a great weekend. I had a very busy weekend. I enjoyed the weekend thoroughly. I'll share a little bit about my weekend because I always like to recap the day before. So had dinner Friday night with a gentleman and his daughters. We actually had brisket, or at least I had brisket barbecue, which was my favorite kind of meat, and I enjoyed talking with him and his daughters, and he had shared that the book Restored to Freedom had really helped him to explain some things in his marriage that he used to have. So it's always good to hear that. And then Saturday did some ministry with a lady named Barbara Alpha, who has a ministry named B2B, Back to Basics Ministry, that is out of Houston. It's the largest ministry of its kind that works with the inner city youth in apartment complexes and speaking the life of Jesus into them. It was a very interesting weekend for me because it really helped me to see what's going on in the inner cities, unlike I've been able to see in the past. And I've done a couple of ministries with Barbara in the past, but on Saturday we did a pool party, and they had a couple of Christian rappers that were there. I talked to one of them afterwards, and he is now doing full-time ministry, which is awesome. He attends Lakewood Church, and we knew a couple of mutual people at Lakewood. Ow, I'm getting bit by ants. I think they have these things called fire ants here. Great, I did that last time I was here. Anyway, Lord, keep the ants away, at bay. So anyway, I got to talk to him, and the Lord actually had given me a dream Saturday morning that he wanted me to sow into this ministry with my books, because there's so many of the youth that are either unfathered, that are getting hurt, and or they have a mother, and we all know single motherhood is very challenging. So this is the second dream that I've had actually with Barbara and her ministry. I had the first one back in January, and so the Lord said, you need to act on it now. So I'm going to sow in 100 books to her ministry to then be distributed however Holy Spirit deems through them. They have a lot of people that they work with. Ouch, getting bit again. Like thousands of youth that they work with around Houston as well as San Antonio and Austin. So I'd like to just plug her ministry if you've been led to help out youth. Oh my gosh, they're like ants everywhere. Okay, I'm going to stand up. So if you want to help out youth, then that's a great ministry. It's b2bministry.com. And so on Saturday we did a pool party, and Saturday night I did a ministry in Houston, Patty and Paul Vella's home. They were packed out in their home. They had a couple of pastors that were there that had a prison ministry, and they loved what they had heard, and they asked me if I could come in and speak at their church. So I'm actually going to be there July the 1st because I had an opening. I was supposed to speak in Caldwell, Texas, but then the pastor had to change it because he was going to be in Miami too long. So I will be rescheduling Caldwell, but I am coming back to Houston now, July the 1st at 10 a.m. at this church called the Cool Church, C-O-O-L, which stands for Church, I can't remember the name of the other acronyms, but they have an outreach to the people that are in prison, and I know they're supposed to have like 20 women that had gone through prison that are going to be attending that. So looking forward to speaking there on Sunday, 10 a.m., July the 1st in Houston. Again, it's called Cool. It's on my page, Restored to Freedom, as well as my website. So, and then did some more ministry on Sunday. I wasn't planning to do that, but I had Sunday open before I had to leave to go to Lubbock today. So was able to, we're supposed to go up to some youth that are in a place where they have been really troubled apparently, and it's out in the middle of the woods. And when we got there, I just sensed in my spirit something wasn't right. And sure enough, we walked in and they said that they were on cold blue, which means they had to shut down. So someone tried to escape, so we could not do the ministry there. So she had purchased like 50 hamburgers from Whataburger and some French fries, and so we ended up going to some other apartment complexes in Houston, like north of downtown. And again, it opened my eyes up to see a world that I don't really go into with my ministry, but the books are desperately needed there as well as in the prison. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the impact is when people read the books, that they will read them, that they will get delivered, and that they will get impacted and get set free from these spirits, and they won't pass it on down to the next generation, which ultimately normally happens. So looking forward to seeing the collaboration of B2B ministry and Restored to Freedom. And in fact, she had a couple other guys that were in ministry with her that had been buying the books on their own and had been distributing them as much as they could, as fast as they could, because there's so many people, they said, that are affected by those spirits of Jezebel, Leviathan, and Ahab. So I am so looking forward to that. All right. And then last night we did a worldwide deliverance session. I've had something like over 1,600 people that have watched it, and a lot of testimonies that have come out already saying that people had gotten healed, their backs, they have more peace. You know, when you take that seriously and you mean it and you choose to forgive and you repent for what you've done and you repent for having spirit of pride, those spirits don't have a right to stay anymore. And when you command them to go, they will go, and you will be at more peace. So, great stuff. So anyway, today, the topic the Lord wanted me to talk about is don't just sit there, do something about it. In fact, again, hey there, sorry about that. Apparently my phone was getting overheated because it is hot. So I'm going to have to do this part 2. And I'll see if I can share this again. Sorry about that. I didn't think it was that hot, but being in Texas in the summertime, it does get warm. So let me see if I can reshare this as I go live with part 2. So again, sorry about that. That's the challenges you get with doing live out in Texas, Facebook Lives, because the temperature can get hot, I guess, quicker. So again, let me see if I can get this reshared, and then I'll get started again on the subject, which is talking about don't just sit there, but do something about it. I guess I need to reconnect this to my phone, and then I can share it, and then we can get started again. So hold on for a second here. Again, it's, I don't know, temperature is supposed to be 91, 92 in College Station. I'm going to Lubbock, where it is supposed to be 99 tomorrow and 101 on Wednesday. So I will probably not do a Facebook Live outside tomorrow. I will do it inside, where it's air conditioned. All right, so now it's bringing it back up. Here we go, part 2. As I'm sweating bullets right now. All right, so shared it with that. And now I'll share it with these other groups. Okay, so the Lord wanted me to talk about don't just sit there, but do something about it. And so I think back to this weekend when I see the tremendous need in the inner cities with these children that are just, I mean, I can't imagine that world because that was not my world growing up. I grew up in the country. You know, I'm a country boy, and so I did not have to deal with the city stuff that goes on right now, and it can be really bad. You know, I was just amazed at how you have to be careful when you're pulling into one of these apartment complexes to be able to pull away quickly if you need to. If the people there pull out guns, you know, Barbara said she's seen a boy get shot and killed, like in front of her face, teenagers, and it is so sad, you know, that happens. But that's my goal, is to get people delivered so that they don't have those demons that are tormenting them to cause them to do all these bad things. So ultimately, they won't have to go through that, but it's tragic. So what the Lord has been pressing upon me is that if He has called you to do some things, to do your part, whether it's a part-time ministry, whether it's leading a Bible study, then do it. Don't be debating, gee, should I do this, should I not? Get it done, get her done, as they say in Texas. So had I just, you know, in my scenario specifically, you know, I was getting married, my wife was very controlling, manipulative, tried to stop me from doing ministry, and I knew that it was completely against what God wanted me to do. So I had to make a decision, gee, do I continue to be controlled by my spouse, and then the demons in her stop me from doing the ministry that God's called me to do? Or do I say, no, I'm not going to listen to the demons in you, I'm going to listen to the God in me and do what God said? So I did. I chose to do what God said. I separated, didn't want a divorce, and then she ended up doing the divorce. So I don't have control over her, you know, but I also do have control over myself. And so I needed to listen to God, and you need to listen to God. And if God tells you to do something, then you do it. Otherwise, you're not going to have an impact the way the Lord wanted you to in your life. And I know a lot of you, if you're married to people that have Jezebel spirits, those Jezebel spirits want to stop you and control you and shut you down. And now if you're not married, you know, a lot of you are looking to get married. Well, think about it this way. You know, I couldn't have done all that I did had I been married. I could not have written all the books that I did as fast as I could. And I'm not sure of any wife that would want to travel as much as I have, because it's challenging. You're not knowing where you're going to go and where you're going to stay. You have to have a lot of faith to do that. So, and I was in that position, and I was ready to go, and so I did it. And there's a lot of people that are single right now. The Lord's speaking to you, saying, you know what, I've been calling you to do ministry. You've been waiting to get married. Do ministry, and then I'll bring your wife or husband later. But you need to start doing some things the Lord's been calling you to do. And this is a kind of a wake-up call to several that are going to be watching this now or in the future, is do it. Just do it. You know, start to step out and do it, and He will provide and He will protect. Again, I will say, if you are married to, you know, the Lord showed me this. There's a lot of people that are in marriages where there is a person that has Jezebel, and it's doing everything that it can to stop you and to shut you down. And if you need help, then get help. Reach out to someone at Restored to Freedom. We have 50 now, 50 Restored to Freedom deliverance people that are out there doing deliverances in 6 different countries. I mean, we're doing them all over the world. But if the person obviously is going to resist and not admit that they have it, not get freed from it, then you maybe need to do a tough thing, and that is to separate, so that you can have peace, so that you can do what the Lord's called you to do. I know if you're married and you have kids and they're young, it's very challenging, because then how do you provide financially and so forth? But there's a lot of ministries out there that are waiting to be started. There's a lot of people that need to be. And I think about Barbara and all that she's doing right now. You know, she has a lot of volunteers, but they also need more money. And there's just a lot of need of addressing the problems and so forth in the inner cities. And there's few people that are doing it. There's a lot of people that aren't doing anything. So oftentimes you see there's like the 80-20 rule, where you see 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. You know, and you see that in most arenas. In business, you see it in you know, churches. You know, oftentimes 20% of the people give 80% of the tithes, or something like that. So the number. So it's important for us to do our part, and not just to sit there on the sidelines saying, well, gee, maybe God will use that person or this person. So if you are single, I see it, and the Lord showed me that there's a lot more single over the next few days and do something. If you're called to do deliverance, then you can join Restored to Freedom. The cost of doing that is very minimal. The Lord, in fact, said to not charge. The only thing that we have a charge for is you need to read the books, Restored to Freedom and Waking the Lion Within, and the School of Ministry books. I mean, those are like, if you get them at one of my conferences, it's $25. And I don't charge, for the actual training of 4-hour videos. I do a suggested donation. If you don't have any, you still can become part of the ministry team. So, and then when you actually are certified, then I suggest that people make donations to you of $40 to $50 for a session. And that goes to you. I don't take any of that. Some people want to make a donation back to the ministry. Well, that's great. I appreciate that. But the Lord is wanting you to step out and to do this. So a lot of people that have been hurt by those spirits will have a strong anointing of them to come into their authority and to help other people, because they know the spirits now and they've gotten victory over them. Obviously, if you've not gotten victory over it yet, you've not gotten completely freed yet, then most likely the Lord will say you need to hold off until you get freed from those spirits. Then you can start doing more ministry. But there's a lot of people that are just waiting on the sidelines until they have the money that comes in and so forth. I didn't have any money. I owed $70,000 when I started my ministry. So that's pretty good indication that the Lord is in this ministry. I still have debts that I'm paying down. I didn't incur them of any foolish spending whatsoever, though. The Lord had me go into that in order, I believe, to have, since my wife wouldn't choose to get delivered, is to go through with the divorce, so she couldn't at least stop me from doing the ministry that the Lord called me to do. And now that I'm doing it, it's been amazing to watch it grow every single week, as more people every single day are learning about it. So again, do something. Speak to your neighbors and to encourage them. And if they need delivered, then take them through deliverance. It's not that hard. They can watch videos, make them aware of this. When you go through deliverance yourself, you oftentimes have your eyes open so clearly that you can actually see it in other people, and then you can actually have a conversation. I mean, all you have to do is to say, hey, do you have these symptoms? And just read off the list of those Jezebel symptoms. Do you feel like you have to control other people? Do you manipulate? Are you jealous? Do you have, issues with, sexual impurity and other things? Do you get angry a lot? Do you dominate? Do you want your way? And do you have a spirit of Leviathan? Are you prideful? Do you have pride? You just ask these simple questions, and people will say, if they're honest, will say, okay, maybe I do have that. Yes, I think I do. Well, then you can help them get delivered. So that's one thing. That's huge, major impact. I know that wherever I go to have these conferences and speaking engagements, there's always a lot of spiritual warfare that the people that host it go through. So they know that they're being impactful. They know the enemy does not want this to happen. There's so many people that are in the church that are operating in those spirits. So anyway, it's amazing to see what God is doing. And again, those that are sent by the enemy will oftentimes try to interfere, try to bring a lot of attention to themselves. And you can pick them out. You can say, wait a minute, what are you doing? Are you being conducive to the Lord, or are you trying to come against it? We see that all the time. I went to go speak up in Detroit, and there was a woman there that did not want me to come. and very high income person. Well, it's because she operated in that spirit. So she tried to put pressure on the pastors to stop it, and it didn't work. The Lord ended up blessing them greatly, the entire leadership group. And again, you can see oftentimes, like on Facebook, when I do a Facebook Live, there may be individuals that are posting things like constantly trying to bring attention to themselves. Well, that's the spirit there, trying to distract the other people. So you can kind of see it, and it becomes very apparent. So just, do your part. Step out and do something that the Lord wants you to do, and not just sit there like a turtle on a log, which I saw earlier. I'm not sure if there's any turtles now, but they oftentimes have turtles here. There's a guy trimming grass over there. So again, he wants you to not just sit there, he wants you to do something. And again, don't be like an Israelite. Don't complain and say, oh me, oh my, I can't do this, I can't do that, I need this, I need that. Do your part and get out there and get in the game, because there's a lot of ministry that needs to be done, and we all need to be on the same team. We all need to be moving in the same direction. Again, we all have our different unique anointings and giftings that we have that the Lord wants us to operate in, and to operate in fully. And when you do, you'll see the blessings come in from the Lord, and it'll be great. So anyway, I'm going to play a song. The Lord brought this to my remembrance that you guys will probably remember, as long as the cicadas don't, and the birds don't make it sound too quiet here. Hopefully you can hear it. So this kind of exemplifies what you are to do. So here we go. As long as this will play. Just trying to connect right now. Trying to. I'm going to reboot this. I'm not reboot it, but I'm going to bring it back up again. And hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Well, I guess I got to be connected. It's not connected. That's why it's not working. All right. It'll be worth it. You guys will all remember this song. Okay, there we go. Getting reconnected. All right. Here we go. Tell me if you remember this song. Because you got to move it. You need to do something. Not just sit there.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it.
There we go.
You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. All girls all over the world. Original King Juliet for the girls, man. I love how all the girls, they love to move their body. When you move your body, you know move it nice and sweet and sassy. Alright? Woman, you cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Woman, you cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Woman, physically fit, physically fit, physically fit. Woman, physically fit, physically fit, physically fit. Woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic. Woman, nice, sweet, energetic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic. Woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic. Woman, nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big Titanic. Woman, I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. Woman, you cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Woman, you cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Eyeliner, funny face.